I grip my water glass too tightly as Mom raises her crystal flute toward Jenna. The same dining table where I ate my childhood meals now feels like a battlefield, with me on the losing side. Again, to my beautiful daughter, Dad announces, his voice carrying the pride he never uses when speaking about me. Following in my footsteps at Thompson and Associates. I always knew you'd be the one to carry on the family legacy. Mom beams at Jenna, her perfectly manicured hand reaching across to squeeze my sister's arm. Marketing director at 32, we couldn't be prouder. Jenna preens in her designer dress, crimson silk that probably cost more than my car payment. My navy sheath dress from 3 seasons ago suddenly feels as invisible as I am. Thanks, everyone. Jenna tosses her highlighted hair over her shoulder. It was practically inevitable. Dad's been grooming me for this since business school. I clear my throat. I actually have some news, too. I'm leading the Westmore software integration. It's the biggest project our company has handled this year. The pause that follows lasts just long enough to confirm what I already know. My achievements will never measure up in this house. Mom's lips curve into what passes for her supportive smile. That's nice, dear. Then, with the precision of someone who has had years of practice wielding words like weapons, but you'll never be as successful as your sister. The dining room freezes. Even the grandfather clock in the corner seems to hold its breath. My hand tightens around my water glass until my knuckles turn white. I stare at my mother's face, searching for any recognition of what she's just said. There isn't any, just the bland expectation that I'll swallow this latest dismissal as I've swallowed all the others. But this time, something inside me shifts. 9 months earlier, I'd been working late, debugging code that refused to cooperate, when my phone lit up with Mom's number, unusual for a Tuesday night. Natalie? Her voice wobbled in a way I'd never heard before. Your father needs to speak with you. Dad came on, clearing his throat repeatedly before finally admitting the truth. The River Point investment collapsed. We might lose the house. I still remember the shock, followed immediately by my offer. I'll cover the mortgage until you get back on your feet. The relief in his voice should have warned me. Just for a few months, until things stabilize. That first transfer, $3,250, nearly emptied my savings account. I'd expected gratitude. Instead, Mom's response set the pattern for everything that followed. It's what family does, she said, as if I'd merely passed the salt at dinner rather than saved their home. 2 weeks later, I sat at their kitchen counter, helping organize their financial paperwork. That's when I noticed the credit card statements, 5 of them, all nearly maxed out. What about these? I asked. Mom waved dismissively. Your father's investments left us short. I added the minimum payments to my monthly transfers without argument. When Jenna posted photos from her weekend in the Hamptons the following month, I mentioned it to Mom. Couldn't Jenna help with some of these expenses? Mom's expression hardened. Your sister is building her career. She needs to make the right impressions, maintain certain appearances. You understand. I did understand. Jenna was the investment worth protecting. I was the reliable utility, meant to function without recognition. In my apartment, the kitchen faucet had been leaking for months. The property management company promised repairs soon, but I couldn't justify paying for a plumber myself when every spare dollar went to my parents. My student loans remained in deferment while I covered their mortgage. My promotion came after months of late nights and weekends sacrificed to the project that no one else wanted. I'd earned it through persistence and ingenuity, not connections or charm. The salary bump helped cover the ever-increasing expenses of maintaining my parents' lifestyle. The phone calls from home developed a pattern, brief pleasantries followed by mentions of unexpected expenses. The ancient water heater that finally gave out. Property taxes that were higher than expected this year. Each time, I transferred the money without question. Now, sitting at the family dinner table with Mom's words still hanging in the air, you'll never be as successful as your sister, I feel something snap. I stand, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. You have no idea what success looks like, I say, my voice quieter than I expected. None of you do. Mom blinks, genuinely confused. Dad lowers his fork, frowning. Natalie, Jenna says with a dismissive laugh. Don't be so sensitive. Mom didn't mean anything by it. I gather my purse from the sideboard, fingers finding my car keys. For a moment, I almost tell them about the sleepless nights, about their indifference, about the overtime hours, about the sacrifices they've never acknowledged. Instead, I look one last time at the house I've been quietly saving, the polished furniture, the gleaming floors, the perfect family tableau that exists only because I stand outside it, supporting the entire structure. Natalie? Dad calls as I reach the door. What about dessert? Your mother made your favorite apple pie. It's not my favorite. It's Jenna's. I close the door behind me softly, saving my tears for the privacy of my car. 3 days after the unpleasant dinner, my mother called me to help her sort some documents out. I drop another stack of papers into the mahogany filing cabinet, helping Mom organize the financial mess Dad's failed investment created. The home office smells like furniture, polish, and desperation. Almost done, I say, my back stiff from hunching over piles of statements for the past 3 hours. Mom glides into the room with 2 teacups. You're a lifesaver, sweetheart. Her pearls catch the afternoon light as she sets my cup on the desk. Just that bottom drawer left. I nod, grateful for a task that requires no small talk. Opening the drawer, I spot a red folder tucked behind tax returns. Jenna's education is written across the tab in Mom's perfect penmanship. Something pulls at me to look inside. Maybe it's the way it's hidden at the back. Or maybe it's the faint memory of Jenna complaining about student loans during Christmas dinner loans I thought were paid off years ago. I slide the folder out, checking over my shoulder. Mom has disappeared back to the kitchen. The first page is a statement from National Student Loan Services. What catches my eye isn't the balance or interest rate, but the payment information. Check #4312, $1,650, dated 3 months ago. My check number. My handwriting. My money. I flip through more statements. Check after check, all mine, all redirected to pay Jenna's education debt, $19,800 over the past 2 years. My teacup rattles against the saucer as I place it down with shaking hands. Did you find what you needed? Mom appears in the doorway, her smile freezing when she sees the open folder. You used my money to pay for Jenna's loans? My voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. Mom's posture shifts, chin lifting slightly. Jenna needs to focus on her career right now. These payments would have been a distraction. The casual justification strikes me like a physical blow. I turn back to the drawer, pulling files at random. If they used my money for this, what else have they been hiding? What are you doing? Mom steps forward, but I'm already spreading documents across the desk. Car payment records, Dad's Lexus, bought last year during their supposed financial crisis. 3 checks in my handwriting totaling $3,800. Credit card statements, 5 accounts I never knew existed. My checks highlighted in their payment history, $9,400. And the mortgage, $29,250. Every monthly payment for nearly a year written in my hand, $62,000. I whisper, the number burning into my consciousness. $62,250. Now, Natalie. Mom straightens papers I've scattered, her voice slipping into the same tone she used when I was a child caught misbehaving. You're stable. Your job is secure. You can handle helping the family through this rough patch. Rough patch? The words stick in my throat. You bought a new car. Jenna went to Aspen in February. Your father deserves certain comforts at his age. And your sister. Don't. I hold up my hand. Just don't. My world crumbles around me as the full picture emerges. Not just the money, the staggering amount is almost secondary to the betrayal. They planned this. Calculated it. Every sympathetic nod when I mentioned working overtime. Every casual dismissal of my concerns about their spending, all part of a deliberate scheme. Family takes care of family, Natalie. Mom's voice hardens. Your father and I made sacrifices for years so you girls could have everything. Where is Dad? I need to hear his explanation. He's playing golf. Mom tidies the edge of the desk. Besides, I handle the finances. This was my decision. Of course. Dad's convenient absence. His perpetual shocked expression whenever money is mentioned. Your mother handles all that, he'd say with a dismissive wave. My phone buzzes. A text from Jenna. Thanks for lunch yesterday. Couldn't have survived these loan payments without you. So she knew. All this time, my sister knew. The doorbell rings, startling us both. That'll be Martha, Mom says, already moving toward the hall, coming to discuss the charity auction. I follow, documents clutched against my chest. In the foyer stands not Aunt Martha, but Uncle Robert, Dad's younger brother, the family maverick who chose teaching over joining the family business. Robert! Mom's surprise barely masks her annoyance. We weren't expecting you. Just in the neighborhood. His eyes dart between us, sensing the tension. Everything okay? Natalie was just helping me organize some papers. Mom's hand presses against my back, urging me toward the study door. She was using my money to pay for Jenna's student loans. I blurt out. $62,000 of my money for everything from mortgage payments to Dad's new car. Uncle Robert's eyebrows shoot up. Margaret, is this true? You never understood family duty, Robert. Mom's voice turns cold. Some of us prioritize our children's success. By stealing from one to benefit the other? Uncle Robert steps inside without waiting for an invitation. This isn't right, Margaret. For the first time in my adult life, someone in this family is taking my side. The validation nearly buckles my knees. Later, over coffee in the sunroom, Mom casually mentions Jenna's engagement, as if we hadn't just uncovered her financial deception. Brian proposed last weekend. They're thinking June for the wedding. I stare into my mug, saying nothing. Of course, they'll need help with the costs. She stirs her coffee delicately. Around $45,000 for the wedding Jenna deserves. The mug nearly slips from my fingers. You want me to pay for her wedding? After everything I just found out? After all we've done for you, Natalie. Her tone suggests I'm being unreasonable. This is what family does. I'll think about it, I whisper, not trusting myself to say more. In my car afterward, I sob until my throat burns. Then I drive straight to the bank. The teller looks concerned as I cancel all automatic transfers to my parents' accounts. Is everything all right, Miss Collins? No, I say, a strange calm settling over me. But it will be. 3 days later, Mom calls in a panic. The mortgage payment didn't go through. There must be some mistake. No mistake, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. I'm not covering it anymore. The silence stretches between us before Mom finally hangs up. Then, a text from Uncle Robert appears. Stand your ground. For the first time in years, I feel something like hope. 3 weeks pass quickly, and I am gathering more documents to protect myself and to ensure clear boundaries with my family. On a Tuesday evening, I stand in the corner of Grandpa's sprawling backyard, clutching a plastic cup of lemonade, like it's the only thing keeping me tethered to earth. The Thompson family reunion for his 80th birthday unfolds before me like a choreographed performance, where everyone knows their role except me. Mom floats between clusters of relatives in her pearl gray dress, stopping to touch shoulders and laugh at appropriate moments. Her voice carries across the lawn when she thinks I can't hear. Families support each other through thick and thin. She tells Aunt Susan, her eyes darting in my direction. Some children understand responsibility better than others. I take another sip of lemonade, the tartness making me wince. 3 weeks since I canceled the mortgage transfers, and the campaign has been relentless. First came the desperate phone calls, then the guilt-laden texts, and now this public humiliation before the extended family. Jenna holds court near the buffet table, her left hand flashing in the sunlight every time she gestures. The engagement ring, 3 carats at least, has become her new personality. Cousin after cousin exclaims over it while she details plans for the reception at the Riverside Country Club. 6 courses, she announces, and a 12-piece orchestra for the first dance. I calculate the cost in my head. Another $15,000 at least. Money they don't have but somehow expect to materialize from my bank account, no doubt. They won't get a penny. Aunt Susan corners me by the hydrangeas, her floral perfume overwhelming in the summer heat. Natalie, honey, your sister's wedding only happens once. She lowers her voice conspiratorially. Your mother mentioned you're being difficult about helping with the expenses. Did she mention she used my money to pay off Jenna's student loans? The words escape before I can stop them. Aunt Susan's smile freezes. Well, I'm sure there are 2 sides to every story. She pats my arm and drifts away before I can respond. I find myself alone at the family table during dinner, a physical manifestation of my new status. Relatives who normally would sit beside me have mysteriously found other seats. Only Uncle Robert catches my eye across the yard and gives me a discreet thumbs up. At least someone understands. The following Wednesday, I locked myself in the 3rd-floor break room at work. 2 more voicemails from Dad about family responsibility, and I can't hold back the tears anymore. I press paper towels against my eyes, hoping no one comes in. The door opens. Oh, sorry, Sarah from accounting says. stepping back. Then she sees my face. Natalie? What's wrong? Something about her genuine concern breaks the dam I've built around my secret. The words pour out between sobs, the mortgage payments, Jenna's student loans, the credit cards, the total reaching over $60,000. They just kept asking, and I kept paying. I finish, staring at the soggy paper towels in my hands. And now I'm the villain for stopping. Sarah's expression shifts from concern to outrage. That's not family, that's parasitic. The word hits me like a physical blow. Parasitic. An organism that takes from its host without giving anything in return. The perfect description of what my family has become. You need to tell someone, Sarah says, her voice firm. This isn't right. I just did, I say, managing a weak smile. By afternoon, Barbara from HR finds me at my desk. In her 60s with silver-streaked hair, she's been my unofficial mentor since I started at the company. Sarah mentioned you might need to talk, she says, pulling up a chair. My sister did something similar to me in the 90s. Took nearly $30,000 before I realized what was happening. For the first time in months, I feel less alone. As Barbara shares her story, other coworkers drift over. Mark from IT had supported his brother through 3 failed businesses. Janine's parents had remortgaged their house in her name. A pattern emerges: the reliable ones always get tapped, then blamed when they finally say no. Family can be wonderful, Barbara tells me as the impromptu support circle disbands, but it can also be the perfect cover for exploitation. I'm still processing this revelation when my doorbell rings that evening. Through the peephole, I see Jenna, her perfect features twisted with anger. I consider pretending I'm not home, but she's already spotted my car in the parking lot. What are you trying to do? She demands when I open the door. Ruin my wedding? Embarrass Mom and Dad in front of everyone? I step aside, letting her storm into my apartment. Would you like some tea? Don't patronize me, she snaps. Mom and Dad are beside themselves. They might have to sell the house. The house they haven't paid for in 2 years? I keep my voice steady. The one I've been covering the mortgage on? They'll cut you off completely if you keep this up. Jenna threatens, pacing my small living room. Is that what you want? A laugh escapes me, surprising us both. They can't cut me off if I've been supporting them. Jenna stops pacing. What are you talking about? I retrieve my laptop, opening the spreadsheet that documents every payment. $62,250 over 2 years, I say, turning the screen toward her, including $19,800 for your student loans. Her perfect features go slack. My loans? But Dad said. She leans closer to the screen, her finger tracing the numbers. These are all from you? For a brief moment, something like genuine shock crosses her face. Then her eyes drift to her engagement ring, and I watch the calculations happen behind her eyes. This is terrible. Truly, she says. But my wedding is in 4 months, and everything's already booked. Surely you can help just this once. Figure it out yourself, I say, moving toward the door. I'm done. She pauses on the threshold. You've always been so selfish, she tries, but the words lack conviction. I close the door without responding. The next morning, my phone pings with a job notification. Tech director position in San Diego. Salary, $136,000, plus relocation bonus. I almost swipe past it until I see the company name Westmore Technologies, whose software integration I successfully led last quarter. You should apply, Sarah says when I mention it over lunch. I have a cousin in San Diego. The weather's perfect year-round. But my family, I start automatically. Abandoned you first, Sarah finishes. Besides, you're only a plane ride away if things improve. That evening, I create a new spreadsheet, different from my payment records. This one lists San Diego apartments, their distance from Westmore's office, rental prices, amenities. Sarah sends links to neighborhood guides. Uncle Robert calls to check in, and when I mention the potential move, his response is immediate. Take it. You've earned this chance. Over the next week, I compile the evidence of my family's financial exploitation. Color-coded folders organize my support by category: mortgage payments in red, student loans in blue, car payments in green, credit cards in yellow. I highlight bank statements, annotate check images, print email requests for just a little help this month. Sarah helps me prepare talking points. Uncle Robert offers to attend the confrontation as witness and support. I rehearse the words I need to say. I will not pay another cent. The night before another family emergency meeting, I survey my apartment. Half-packed boxes line the walls, San Diego, growing from possibility to probability with each passing day. I submitted my application to Westmore yesterday. The preliminary phone interview went well. My phone rings. Dad's number. "Natalie," he says when I answer. "Your mother's very upset about all this." I can hear her in the background, her theatrical sniffling perfected over decades. "We'll discuss everything tomorrow," I reply, my voice steadier than I expected. After hanging up, I pick up a childhood photo from my nightstand. 2 girls in matching dresses, one beaming at the camera, the other slightly blurred as if the photographer couldn't quite be bothered to focus. The invisible daughter, supporting the weight of a family that never truly saw her. Tomorrow, they will see me. On Friday evening, I grip the leather handle of my briefcase as I park in front of my parents' house. The folder tabs poke through the sides, red, blue, green, yellow, each color a different category of betrayal. Just breathe, I whisper to myself, watching the October sun glint off the newly painted shutters. Shutters I paid for. Across the street, Uncle Robert's silver Buick idles by the curb. He gives me a firm nod when our eyes meet. His presence steadies my racing heart. At least someone in this family stands with me. I check my lipstick in the rearview mirror, professional, put together, nothing they can criticize. The woman staring back at me looks different somehow, determined. I barely recognize myself. Inside, they've arranged themselves like actors on a stage. Mom perches on Dad's favorite armchair, dabbing at red-rimmed eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Dad stands behind her, one hand on her shoulder, his business posture firmly in place. Jenna fidgets with her massive engagement ring, twisting it nervously around her finger. "Natalie," Dad says, his voice clipped. "Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming." I don't answer. Instead, I place my briefcase on the coffee table and sit across from them. The silence stretches uncomfortably. Mom breaks first. "The doctor says this stress is affecting my heart." Her voice trembles with practiced vulnerability. "My blood pressure readings have been concerning." Dad squeezes her shoulder. "In this family, we support each other. That's what your grandfather taught me. What I taught you girls. It's our legacy." Jenna leans forward, her eyes wide and pleading. "My wedding means everything to me, Nat. Everything. Don't you want me to have the perfect day? After all we've been through as sisters?" The coordinated guilt offensive washes over me like an old, familiar song. I've heard every verse before. I say nothing as I unclasp my briefcase. "Aren't you going to say anything?" Mom asks, confusion replacing the theatrical tears. The doorbell rings. Dad frowns. Who could that be? I stand to answer it, though we all know who waits on the other side. Uncle Robert fills the doorframe, his broad shoulders blocking the afternoon light. "Margaret, Charles, Jenna." He nods to each of them before stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "Robert," Mom says, her voice suddenly sharp. "This is a family matter." Uncle Robert hangs his jacket on the coat rack, the same one that stood by the door since I was 5. "That's why I'm here." The balance shifts. I feel it in the way Dad straightens, in the tightening of Mom's fingers around her handkerchief. "Let's get started," I say, opening my briefcase on the dining table. They follow me reluctantly, exchanging glances loaded with unspoken concerns. I spread the documents methodically across the polished mahogany. Red folder, first mortgage payments. $29,250 over 2 years. Each check photocopied, each payment highlighted. Blue folder, next student loans. $19,800. Not my loans, Jenna's. Green folder, car payments. $3,800 for the car Mom drives. Yellow folder, credit cards. $9,400. Luxury purchases circled in red. Designer handbags. Weekend getaways. A $400 bottle of wine. $62,250. I say, my voice steady as I place the summary sheet in the center. That's what I've given this family over 2 years. Jenna's mascara smudges as tears form. "Still, this is my wedding," she whispers, staring at the student loan folder. Mom shifts in her chair. "It wasn't that much in the grand scheme." "It was exactly that much," I interrupt, pointing to the totals. To the dollar. Dad clears his throat. We were going to pay you back, of course. When? I ask, looking directly at him. How? The silence that follows provides my answer. Uncle Robert's hand rests on my shoulder, warm and supportive. Jenna picks up one of the loan statements, her finger tracing my handwriting in the memo line. I know it's been tough for you, but could you? While you were shopping at Nordstrom and planning weekend trips to Aspen, I worked my ass out to repay everything for you. I slid another folder across the table, purple, the color of lies. Here are the receipts, your expenses during what Mom and Dad called our family crisis. So, no, I will not pay for your wedding, not a cent. I fan out the evidence. Vacation photos from Mom's Facebook page showing them in Monterey while I worked 60-hour weeks to cover their mortgage. The receipt for Dad's new golf clubs purchased the same week he called about the unexpected property tax bill. Jenna's shopping sprees documented through credit card statements I'd been paying. You're making us look terrible. Mom interrupts, color rising in her cheeks. You did that yourselves, I reply, my voice calm despite the anger burning behind my ribs. I just brought the receipts. Uncle Robert nods slowly. Quite the paper trail, Margaret. Dad looks away, unable to meet my eyes or his brother's. Jenna stares at the documents spread before her, seeing for the first time the foundation her life of privilege was built upon. My invisible foundation. Do you understand what this means? I ask, looking at each of them in turn. Do you understand what you've done? The family facade cracks before my eyes, hairline fractures spreading across the perfect picture they've maintained for so long. And for the first time since this began, I feel something almost like satisfaction as I watch the truth sink in. I grip the manila folders tightly as Mother's tears start on cue. She's always had a talent for crying exactly when it serves her purpose. The dining room feels smaller today, the family portraits on the wall watching me like silent judges. After all, we sacrificed for you. Mother sobs, dabbing carefully at her eyes to preserve her makeup. Everything we gave up so you could have opportunities. Father leans forward, his business posture intact despite the family drama unfolding. We raised you better than this, Natalie. Family supports family. That's how we brought you up. Jenna fidgets with her engagement ring, the diamond catching light in a way that makes me wonder how many of my mortgage payments it represents. I'll pay you back after the wedding, she promises, her voice sweet in the way it always gets when she wants something. Once Kevin and I are settled, I'll start sending you money every month. Once. I notice how they've positioned themselves around the table. Mother with tears, father with authority, Jenna with promises. A coordinated attack they clearly planned before I arrived. Uncle Robert, standing by the china cabinet, shakes his head in disgust. His presence seems to physically alter the room's dynamics, like introducing a new element to a chemical reaction. I take a deep breath, feeling the weight of the folders in my hands. For 2 years, I've rehearsed this moment in my mind. Now it's here, and strangely, I feel calmer than I expected. During this time, I continue, my voice steady. I've been called less successful, less important, less worthy. I've been treated as the family ATM, while being regarded as the family disappointment. The silence that follows feels tangible. I turn to face my father directly. You taught me financial responsibility my entire life. Balancing checkbooks at 12, saving birthday money. Opening my first IRA at 19. I meet his eyes without flinching. Then you exploited those same lessons when it benefited you. Father's gaze drops to the table. I turn to Mother. You made me invisible while I kept our family afloat. Every time I called, you asked about money before asking about me. Did you know I was promoted twice during the time I was paying your mortgage? Did you even care? Mother's tears have stopped. Real emotion, something like shame, flickers across her face. Finally, I face Jenna. You accepted my sacrifice while looking down on me. Those vacations you posted on Instagram? The night out weekends? Your designer wardrobe? I was eating ramen to afford my half of your student loans. Jenna's perfectly lined eyes well with tears that, for once, don't seem calculated. They told me Dad's investments were covering everything. I'm not paying another cent, I declare, looking at each of them in turn. I've accepted a position in San Diego. I start next month. San Diego? Mother repeats, panic rising in her voice. But that's across the country. Don't call asking for money. I reach into my pocket and remove my house key, placing it deliberately on top of the folders. Not for the mortgage, not for credit cards. Certainly not for a wedding. You're on your own now, I add, my voice softening slightly. Just like I've been. Uncle Robert nods approvingly from his position by the cabinet. Jenna suddenly stands, tears streaming freely now, her voice breaking. I'm so sorry, Nat. You carried so much for me, and I never saw it. Something shifts in her expression, a recognition I've waited years to see. She slowly twists the engagement ring from her finger and places it on the table. I need to stand on my own first, she says, more to herself than anyone else. It's not too late to learn, I tell her gently. I gather my evidence with steady hands, returning the folders to my briefcase. The documentation has served its purpose. I won't need it again. Natalie, please. Mother begins, reaching toward me. Father remains silent, staring at the key I've left behind as if it's a foreign object he can't quite identify. Success isn't what you think it is, I say, closing my briefcase with a definitive click. Uncle Robert joins me as I walk toward the door. Outside, the afternoon sun feels warmer than usual against my skin. Each step down the familiar garden path feels lighter than the last. As I drive away, I catch a glimpse of my childhood home in the rearview mirror, growing smaller with distance. For the first time in years, I can breathe fully, the weight of obligation lifting from my shoulders like morning fog burning away in sunlight. The morning sun streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, painting golden rectangles across my hardwood floors. I stretch my arms above my head, savoring the view of the Pacific from my San Diego apartment. 1 year since I walked away from that toxic dinner table, and the ocean still takes my breath away every morning. I sip my coffee, made exactly how I like it strong, with just a splash of cream. No compromising to please someone else's palate. On my bookshelf, new photos have replaced the old family portraits. Hiking with coworkers at Torrey Pines, Uncle Robert and me at my housewarming, the team celebration when I was promoted to technical director. My phone pings with a text from Jenna. Just finished night shift number 2 this week. Exhausted but proud. Student loans down another $1,800. I smile, remembering yesterday's bank transfer, the last $14,500 from my family obligation account, redirected into my retirement fund. The account is empty now, the burden lifted. Looking good, I text back. Get some sleep. The doorbell rings as I'm arranging a cheese platter for tonight's dinner party. Uncle Robert stands there, holding a bottle of Cabernet and wearing the widest grin. There she is, he says, pulling me into a bear hug. The woman who reclaimed her life. Hours later, my apartment fills with laughter. Sarah sits beside her husband, regaling everyone with the story of my first hesitant steps toward independence. My neighbor Tom tops off wine glasses while his partner serves the lasagna they insisted on bringing. Uncle Robert holds court at the head of my table, so different from those strained family dinners of my past. A toast? Uncle Robert announces, raising his glass. To standing your ground, to knowing your worth. Glasses clink as warmth spreads through my chest. These people see me, truly see me. Your mom called me last week. Uncle Robert mentions as we clear dishes later. They've sold the house, downsized to that condo near the community college. I nod, loading the dishwasher. Dad mentioned he's teaching a business class there now. 3 days a week. Margaret's adjusting, slowly. He hands me a wet plate. She sent a letter. I got it, I say, remembering the tentative apology, still tinged with justification. She's trying, in her way. After the guests leave, I find Martha, our new junior developer, lingering by the bookshelves. Everything okay? I ask. She bites her lip. My parents called today. Dad lost his job, and they're hinting about moving in with me. I recognize the familiar weight settling on her shoulders, responsibility not freely chosen but assumed by default. Your success belongs to you, I tell her, not to those who would take from it. But their family, she whispers, which is why they should want what's best for you too. I share pieces of my story, watching recognition dawn in her eyes. Next morning, I power up my laptop and check the online support group I started 3 months ago. Membership has doubled again, hundreds of people sharing stories of financial family abuse, offering resources, celebrating boundaries set and kept. Uncle Robert's email sits in my inbox. You've turned pain into purpose. Proud of you, kiddo. That evening, I hold an old family photo, studying my younger self, the invisible daughter, standing slightly apart. I see her now with new eyes, with compassion for what she couldn't yet understand. My phone rings. Jenna. I signed the lease, she announces, voice cracking with emotion. My first apartment, that's actually mine. That I'm paying for myself. Congratulations, I say, meaning it. Thank you, she pauses, for letting me fail. I needed to learn. After we hang up, I walk to my balcony and watch the sunset paint the ocean in impossible colors. Some prices are too high, even for family. But in choosing myself first, I've finally found contentment, and perhaps, someday, a healthier version of family too.